Hello ladies and gentlemen, riders and thrill seekers, welcome to our podcast, The Big Bad Bike Show, where we explore the world of motorcycles. I'm your host, the Big Bad Biker, Sam McCauley, and joining me is my co-host as always, the Up North Biker, Ash Hall.
Hello there!
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to us on YouTube, please give us a little like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're on any of the podcast services, Spotify, Apple, Google, well, that's the only ones we're on. So if you're on there, just maybe leave us a comment or give us 5 stars. And if any time during this podcast you think, you know what, I would like to get in touch with these guys because they've said something that has really triggered me, either in a good way or a bad way, you can send us an email at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. But enough of that. Ash, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm struggling on one day at a time, but getting there, big man, getting there.
Struggling? What do you mean struggling?
Well, you know, life's just constantly taking us uphill, isn't it? It's just one grudging step after the next.
I suppose.
When are we ever going to reach the top of that hill?
Dunno.
Very bleak start to the podcast. Yeah, I've been alright, mate. I've started a new job, as we mentioned last week.
Yes.
And leading up to that, I had a few months lying around not doing very much. You know, I had a means of income, and I wasn't doing very much. And now I'm back to work, and the reality of work again has just hit me. And I'm like, oh, I've only been at it 3 weeks, and already I'm like, oh my god, I hate work. I hate having to do things for the man.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not great, but who knows? I'll probably be in a new job soon anyway.
It's something we all got to do, unless this kicks off, mate. Unless our podcast kicks off and we can somehow become full-time motorbike reviewers, commentators.
Yes.
That's like a dream. That's a dream.
Yeah, it's a dream. Whether it'll be a reality, who knows?
Yeah, different story. Before we get into the pod, what have you been up to? Bit of a catch up.
Yeah, so I've had the house to myself this weekend, which has been really nice.
That's always nice to have.
Yeah, it is. I've been doing a lot of custom work on the Honda Rebel, which I mentioned in my in the last podcast. I had to go at the first time actually doing some proper metal work, so I've chopped the rear fender, as the Americans say, but I call it a mudguard. Chopped that down nice and short because I wanted it's a bobber style bike, so I didn't really want the big stupid bracket holding my rear mudguard up. So I had to go at that. That was pretty successful. I've been doing loads of spray painting as well. I've got my wheels painted black and the drum brake and the rear sprocket as well in the housing. They've got all that looking good. So,
at any point during this rebuild of your bike, have you ever thought about, getting a little bit cray and going a little bit eccentric and kind of off piece and being like, I'm going to do this the way I want to do it?
Well, I'm going black with it, so it's all going to be pretty much black with only a few touches of chrome because I'm not a massive fan of chrome. Too much of it, it's too much upkeep to keep it right, and also I just think it looks very Hot Wheelsy. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of chrome, so.
Are you going all black on it? Because I know me and you've been messaging each other that we've both recently started watching Sons of Anarchy again.
Yes.
Because I never finished the entire thing, and it's been a long time, so I thought I'd start all over again. And you said you'd just finished season 1. Has that anything to do with how you're styling the bike? Are you watching that and thinking, like, oh, I just want to be a badass biker and
badass biker on a 250? I hardly think so.
Yeah.
But,
no, prospect. You could be a prospect.
Yeah, I did. I have actually taken something from it, which is the fact that the bobber style bikes, they don't actually have a front mudguard. So I'm not going to put the front mudguard back on. I'm going to leave it off. Which I didn't think was a thing. I thought they always had mudguards on, but then when I did some research, I was like, oh yeah, it's a pretty standard thing. But no, I'm going with black because black is like my favourite colour. The GTR that I have is black as well, so it'll look nice next to it. It's going to be I'm doing it in like a gloss black, and then it's going to have a matte black stripe all the way down the middle. And then the tank is currently like black with like a white sort of teardrop on the side. I am going to cut all that back, repaint it, but I am going to do something custom on the side. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put any stickers on it that say Honda or Rebel or anything like that. I just want it to be fairly plain. So
just
people,
black.
Yeah,
want it all to be black.
Black with a white sort of teardrop tank with a little trim around it, you know.
So right, I see that.
Yeah, so when people look at it, they don't immediately think, "Oh, it's just a Honda Rebel." They'll look at it and go, "What is that?" That's what I want people to look at.
Are you doing like the rims? Are they going to be black? Or?
Yeah, rims are currently painted black. I'm letting them cure for 24 hours before I put the clear coat over the top.
Just so the listeners are aware, if I don't know what you're putting in social media or what's on your Instagram or whatever, but Ash keeps sending us pictures of him watching movies with just bike parts all over his living room. So he's a real grease monkey. He's just there cleaning bike parts in his living room.
Well, like I say,
you got like a dog's towel set down or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the dog towel. It's just one of the dog towels. And I put it down, and I thought I could be in the garage. It's raining outside. It's cold. It's windy. Or I could be in the house. I've literally been watching Rocky movies all day. I've gone from 1 to 5 all day, and I thought, do you know what? I'll just sit and watch Rocky, and I'll get all my bits and bobs sorted. But what did you think of that sprocket that I sent you? That video, it looked pretty shiny, I thought.
I don't know if I've watched that yet. Did you send that to the group or straight to me?
I sent it to the group, and I just put, what did I say? It almost looks too good to paint, which it did. I very nearly didn't paint it. Oh, no, I've already painted it.
So, to summarise, Ash has hit the house to himself, and he's been in his living room shining his sprocket.
I have been shining my sprocket, yes, sir.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you've been up to something at least. You've got something to occupy yourself while you're...
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Custom building my bike to how I want it. So what have you been up to?
Well, like I say, I started a new job. I've been trying to get to grips with what I'm doing. I'm trying to, figure it all out, make sure I'm doing it. It's nobody likes being the new guy. I don't like being the new guy. You turn up and like I am experienced in the job I'm doing, but you're still the new guy. You know what I mean? You still walk in there and people look at you like, does he really know what he's doing? And if you make one mistake, or you question something, or you want to do something twice over rather than just bimble into it the first time, and you start thinking, what are people thinking about you? It's crap being the new guy. But that's where I'm at the minute.
Well, it'll get better though, won't it? It'll get better.
Yeah, of course it will. It will. But so that's what I've been doing. I've rid my bike to work a couple of times. That's about the only bike-related thing I've been doing. I got to ride in the rain the other day. Not that that's very exciting, but...
No, it's not.
I was out on my bike in the rain. I realised I have absolutely no feeling when it's wet, so I kind of understand what they say about bike riders, not racers, when it's like they don't feel anything. Couldn't feel like... I was going round corners, like it was pretty wet, and I was going round corners, and I didn't know where the...
Yeah, it's horrible,
I'm probably nowhere near it, but like there was once or twice we went into a corner, like coming out of a roundabout, for example. Like you go into a roundabout, you take it wide in case some dickhead in the car wants to come up the inside of you or something. So you take it wide, and then coming out of the roundabout, if you're going quick enough, you kind of go out, you kind of drift out to the white line, but again, and then I don't know, like...
Yeah, it's awful, because, especially when you're a new rider, because you're always subconsciously thinking when you go around that corner, is my front end going to go? Is my back end going to go?
That's it, yeah.
And
that front end,
do you know what? I tell you what, if you're going around a corner and it's raining and someone's dropped diesel or oil, your front end is going to go.
No matter how fast you're going.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It'll just gone. But yeah, there is always that subconscious feeling in the back of your mind. I find that. Even now. And I've been riding bikes for a long time now.
Apart from that, I had we were talking on the group chat, and I got this we got into this bit of a not an argument, but we got into this difference of opinion about a coffee cup. And I want to know, I'm not sure where you stood in this, because it was me and Chippy was having the bicker and having the difference, and I'm not sure what, like, for anybody that's a new listener, Chippy's a third host, but he's not here at the minute. Yeah. But we will reference him every now and again. Yeah. So, I'll give you the lowdown with the coffee cup. So basically, I wake up in the morning, and I'll make a cup of coffee, and I'll drink coffee out of the cup, and then I'll set that cup down. Say that's about 8 o'clock. I'm saying like I'm about the house, or even if I'm at work, I drink a cup of coffee out of work and I set the cup down. Yeah. At about 8 o'clock. Say at about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I go for another cup of coffee. I will just lift the same cup. I'm not going to wash it. I might put a little dribble of water in the bottom of the cup and swirl it around and throw it out, and then I'll make another cup of coffee. And I'll do that all day. I've even seen me coming into work the following day and picking up the exact same cup. Like, I'll not wash it or anything. I'll just put a bit of water in it, maybe run my hand around it.
For me, if it's during the day and it's making cup of tea or whatever, then yeah, I will do that. Like, as long as it's not, I haven't left it too long. But I don't think I could pick up the same cup the day after. That's wrong.
I've seen me using the same cup. And that, like, I'll maybe put water in it and run my hand around it, but I've seen me using the same cup for maybe like a whole week, 5 days.
That's disgusting.
It's not disgusting.
It really
it's not,
is.
Though. No, it's not.
Once a day, a cup a day, I think, is fair enough, but Jesus Christ. Surprised you haven't got the shits all the time from bacteria.
What bacteria, though?
Bacteria from your gob, around the rim.
Yeah, but I give the rim a bit of a rub with my hand. Put some water in it and give a bit of a rub round.
To be fair, I can't say anything. I've got a drinking horn that I've never washed.
I know. Telling me about your cup. You've never... And you drank beer out of that drinking horn too, and that's all sticky and sweet.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to wash them.
Oh, that's a load of shite. That's...
I've had it for years. I've had that for easily 4 years. I've never washed it.
But the thing is, with my cup, what I'm talking about, I drink about easily 4 or 5 cups of coffee every day. So that cup's constantly being used. So there's not really much time for bacteria to settle.
That's fair enough.
I'm doing like air combos. But your drinking horn just sits in your cupboard for months at a time, not being washed. Literally growing little tiny beer people crawling out.
To be fair, I don't really touch drink anymore, so I don't really use it. Might just throw it, to be honest, get a new one. Just as a little display piece.
Do you know what I did do this week? I cracked with my non-drinking.
Ah, did you?
Right. Right, let me hear the whole story. So, Saturday I went to the shop and I bought a bottle of white wine and I bought a 4-pack of Guinness. Do you know why I bought the Guinness? Because I checked, you know that Guinness Zero I had of yours?
Yeah.
I checked it and it was going out of date. This was a couple of days ago. And it was going out of date and I thought, well, I might as well drink it. It's going out of date. So I drank Ash's Guinness Zero that he left in my car when we went to the...
Along with my pair of jeans. I still haven't got them back yet.
Yeah, I still need to send them to you. So I drank this Guinness Zero and that just put me in the mid. I was like, well, now I want an actual Guinness because I've got balls. So
when did you drink the Guinness Zero? When did you drink that?
About a week ago, but it's been playing in my mind for a week ago. I've been like,
was it in January that you drank it?
Probably, yeah.
Right, well, then you realise you broke January, don't you?
Well, I know there's about 0.001% of
alcohol.
No,
0.5. You broke dry January.
Oh, no, I drank 0% alcohol. Anyway, it put me in the mood for Guinness, so I went to the shop, and plus the Six Nations was on. Come on, Six Nations was on. You got to drink some Guinness when the Six Nations is on. Ash is pulling the face because he doesn't like rugby. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of rugby, but it's Six Nations, it's different. So I went and bought Guinness, I bought white wine, and then I didn't even drink them. They're in my house. That's a proper test. What is obedience? What is obedience without having temptation? So, So I bought wine, I bought Guinness, and then I got home and I said, you know what? I'm not even going. I said to my wife, I goes, do you want some wine tonight? And she's like, I'm not fussed. I'll drink if you do. And I was like, I'm not drinking then.
Fair enough.
Because then if she had said yes, I could have blamed her. I could have been, it was your fault.
Poor Helen.
No, well, we didn't drink. It's fine. I've not cracked yet, but I do have alcohol. I've always had alcohol in the house. I always had Guinness in the house. Right, I realise we are rambling on.
Oh, yeah, massively.
And it's probably not even that nice to listen to. It's probably crap.
Yeah.
If anybody listening has done Dry January and they want us to give them a shout out and say well done, just send us an email at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Or you can join our Discord. I'll put the link in the comments down below on the YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, you can join our Discord.
Yeah.
I've done that before. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. We've got a little bit of feedback because as we do have a third host who's not here for personal reasons, private reasons, but he is listening and he is getting in touch. To be honest, he does a bit behind the scenes for the podcast and he's got in touch with some feedback, so it's nice to have Chippy in the background actually giving us feedback. So if anybody else wants to give us feedback, again, podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk and we will read it out in the show.
Yeah.
If you want to correct us in anything we say wrong, because I'm sure there is quite a lot that we say wrong.
Yeah.
Right, so last week we talked quite a bit about Kawasaki's H2 hydrogen bike that they had, the concept bike that they had, and it got us into a bit of discussion about hydrogen fuel and electric bikes and biofuel and stuff. And Chippy was the first person last year to kind of bring up the whole hydrogen talk. And
he was.
Thought hydrogen was going to be the new thing. Which we maybe kind of debunked last week a little bit. But he's got in touch and he says, I've changed my mind on compressed hydrogen as a fuel. I'm not sure it's the answer anymore. Something that wasn't mentioned on the show last week was the network of fuel stations that would need to be created for it to happen. That's a good point. We didn't mention that last week. Also, it's very difficult to move hydrogen from one place to another, apparently, he said. But hybrids could be the way forward, with a battery motor working alongside normal engines. After a very quick Google, he's seen that Kawasaki have a hybrid bike on sale, probably already in the market, and by 2027 all fuel in the MotoGP paddock needs to be from a non-fossil fuel, and Dorna have said that it will either be laboratory created using components sourced from a carbon capture scheme or derived from waste or non-food biomass.
Right.
So if it's it's possible that it could end up putting like biofuels in cars and bikes. And if that happens, then would electric even be needed, or hydrogen?
Very interesting, and especially if it's like biofuel. What kind of engines the engines will have to change probably.
Well, we've all heard the stories about my mate's cousin's best friend's dad ran his tractor or his van or something.
Oh yeah, off of like chip fat.
Yeah, we've all heard them stories. So. But there are some people that has done that. It's not just like some. Yeah. It's not just like some folktale that's travelled. There are people that's done that, and there are people that can do that, which means that it is possible. Because chip fat is just like most chip fat is like that crisp and dry, which is rapeseed oil. Yeah. So if you can run a car in rapeseed oil, that means you can make fuel out of rapeseed oil. So you can literally grow fuel.
Yeah.
So that's there. So I did a little bit of Googling. I say a little bit. I basically typed one thing into Google, and the first site I got is I'm just going to take it as gospel, because that's what I do. I've done no research whatsoever, and now I know the truth. Anyway, I've looked into BP. Now, of course, BP's going to come out and say, oh, we're doing a good thing.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep making money. But now, to summarise and not read the whole article, they basically said that they've got this thing called cover crops, and now from what I can decipher from it, please anybody get in touch and call me a bell end if I'm getting this wrong, but cover crops are like something you would plant on the land to use the land when it's not being used, inverted commas, for normal farming procedure. And then that way you can always grow something on the land and keep making money. Now the cover crops would be like some sort of seed. Carinata. New seed carinata. This is a farmer in Florida. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's new seed carinata, a green leafy plant with the bright yellow flowers. It looks a bit like rapeseed oil. That's what it looks like in the picture. I'm holding up a picture and it looks like rapeseed oil. Have you ever seen fields of rapeseed?
Yeah,
That's what it looks like. So they're going to grow this stuff and then they can make fuel out of it. Now apparently they used to use cover crops at the turn of the 20th century, but then it died and it stopped happening. But they're going to bring it back in, and these people have actually realised that they can grow fuel out of it. Now the article goes on to say it's not just in the US. In Europe, for example, it is estimated that growing oilseeds cover crops on just 10% of the available land could produce more than 5 million tons of sustainable biofuel, and that's enough to power 100,000 transatlantic flights based from London to New York. So there's land available in Europe, and using just 10% of that land means that we could get 100,000 flights from New York to... Now that's what BP's saying that, and they're getting that information from somewhere. Like I say, it might be smoke and mirrors to try and make money, because that's what they're in the habit of doing.
Yeah.
But the opportunity for biofuel is there. Dorna said they're going to go to biofuel by 2027. Now, if this is coming in, again, this might be all bro science, but a guy told me once, don't take this as fact, but a guy told me once that he had read that the biofuel is expected to cause about 10 to 15% as much pollution as what normal fuel makes. So that's like an 85% drop in pollution. Now, I know it's not amazing, because electric apparently makes no pollution, which is bollocks, because it does.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. You got to get the lithium to make the batteries, and then once the batteries stop working, what do you do with the batteries? Throw them in a hole.
Yeah.
You can't dispose of the lithium.
And then what are you doing when you actually charge it?
Yeah,
it's coming from a power plant, which is burning fossil fuels. Anyway,
so biofuel might be the way forward.
It might be. It'd be interesting to see.
God, this is a boring episode.
Yeah, it really is. That was Chippy's fault, to be fair.
Yeah, that was Chippy. Fuck you, Chippy, and your feedback. By the way, if anybody else sends feedback, we won't insult you. But
no. Chippy can do one.
We might insult you a little bit, but don't take it hard.
Yeah, like if you buy a Chinese bike. Anyway, so now that we've finished that part, that's out of the way. It's time for the Who Am I? And I thought I'd kick it off this week. It's a bit of an easy one, but it's the first Who Am I back of the season, so...
It's very easy.
Yeah.
If you know this one, get in contact, send us an email, podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk, let us know, or on Discord, let us know who you think it is. You'll know it. That's so easy.
So here we go. I was born on July 30th, 1981. I won one MotoGP championship, and in 2006 I broke Valentino Rossi's 5-year winning streak. So Sam and Chippy have already guessed this.
Yes, if you know who that is, send us a little email and we will read it out in the show. If you want us to, just leave your name. We'll read your name out in the show. Make you famous, as the Undertaker used to say. Now, moving on.
Well, last week we spoke about the Hydrogen H2 concept bike, and this week I figured we'd speak about a bike that you're actually interested in. The Triumph Tiger 1200. For anybody that don't know, the Tiger 1200 is basically in competition with such as like BMW with their GSs and stuff like that. It's a great bike. Triumph are obviously a really good and reliable manufacturer. That comes in like 3 different models. So you've got like GT, which is more for the road. You've got a rally one, which is more for off-road. But why you would want to take a Tiger off-road, I don't know. And then you've got the Explorer, which is the one I would pick because it's got the bigger fuel tank. It's got a 30-litre fuel tank. The others only have 20. But you quite like this bike, don't you, Sam?
I do like the Tiger. I like that sort of style of bike, like, you know, like adventure tour
Yeah,
sort of bike.
they're really nice.
I like that style. I'm not really... Well, I do like sports bike, and I would like to have a go on a sports bike, but I think realistically for myself, I would like something more to that style. And whenever I first was looking at bikes and what I might get, I don't know what it was about the Tiger. I think it is just how it looks, because there's a lot, like you said, you've got the BMW, they've got the GS,
yeah, you've got the Africa
1250
Twin,
and the 1300, yeah, and you've got like KTM 1290 and whatnot.
Yeah,
but the Tiger just kind of, I seen especially in blue, I seen the Tiger and I thought, oh, that's really, really nice, that's what I want. But yeah, for me at the minute, 1200 is probably a bit, I'm not saying I couldn't ride it, but it's maybe a bit too much for me, and it's fucking £20,000 brand new. So
yeah, they are expensive, but you can pick up a 1200 for like, you know, around 2012, 2013 for around like 4 or 5 grand. So
but the older ones, I don't think look. They've obviously gone through some sort of stylization change, like every generation.
Yeah, they have changed a little bit, but the 1200 that's looked fairly similar throughout the years, definitely. But they're a brilliant bike. Like I say, they're in competition with the main rivals, is the BMW 1200s, and a lot of people are saying now that they are just as good, which is a massive win for Triumph.
Yeah, BMW have 2024. Did they not bring out the 1300? Because they had the 1250, they had the BMW GS 1250R.
Yes.
Or is it the BMW R? And then I think 2024.
GS, I think it is.
Yeah. And then 2024, I think they've upgraded that and they've brought out a 1300.
Oh, I haven't heard about the 1300 actually.
Because I listened to another I wouldn't say a rival podcast, but I've listened to another podcast and I watched their YouTube videos as well. So, and just listening to them over the past couple of weeks and months on my dog walks and stuff. Because the guy that does the channel, he has a Tiger 1200, so he talks quite a lot about it. But he was doing a video a few months ago, or maybe like a few years ago. I think it was like 2022 or 2023, where he compared it to 1250, and he's recently done a new one where he compares it to BMW's new 1300.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
According to him, now he's going to be biased, but according to him, he said that he thought that the Tiger was better.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think everybody's going to have a little bit of that, aren't they? I mean, if I was to say, right, if you want a big, comfy touring bike, get a Kawasaki GTR 1400, because that's what I ride. I would say definitely have one over a BMW 1200 or any BMW 1200 GT or anything like that. But yeah, I suppose you are going to be a bit biased. But do
you think looking at just by looking at the Tiger 1200,
yes,
or a BMW 1250 or 1300 or whatever, do you think looking at them, like I mean, like let's say you're riding into like Austria or something, or like to the North Italy, and you have to go through like the whole way through France or the whole way through Germany, right? Yeah. And you're just on a motorway for hundreds and hundreds of miles. Do you think your GTR 1400 GTR is going to be more comfortable than a Tiger 1200?
Absolutely, definitely.
But just by looking at it, though, now that says me just by looking at it.
Yeah.
Like the Triumph 1200 or the BMW's alternative, that looks more like you're setting up.
Yeah, it's a sit up. Yeah, it's definitely a sit up seating position, and the bars are put in a position which is so there's minimal stress onto your wrists, on your elbows, and stuff like that. They are made simply to make your ride more comfortable. But my GTR is that position as well. It is a sit up sort of bike, and I've put bar risers on mine, even though I didn't need to, but it's made it even more comfortable.
It sets you up a bit higher.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it's actually quite a bit higher. They're quite big. They were 44mm ones. But I would personally, I mean, like, as you know, I rode down to Cheshire to watch the British Superbikes on my bike. and that was a 900-mile round trip. And when I got to the other end, I wasn't uncomfortable. I wasn't sore. It was just brilliant. It was great. The only thing I wish about the GTR is the fuel tank was a bit bigger, because it is a very thirsty bike.
What size is it?
Now you're asking me. I think it's 20 litres. Yeah,
because I was looking at the Tiger.
Tiger's got a 20 litre.
Yeah, that's 20 litre as well.
But if you get the Explorer, model, that's a 30 litre tank, and that is the one I would go for.
Yeah, but again, brand new. Not that you would buy brand new, but brand new, it's 24 grand. Costs a lot of money. It's expensive, that.
And now
who's got 24,000 lying around?
Have a look at how much a BMW GS 1250 is brand new. And then you'll be like, whoa.
They're expensive.
They're very expensive. But that's why I went for my GTR. That cost me, I think it's 4,500.
Yeah,
and
it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah, a lot cheaper, but it's just a brilliant bike. I love it. I would recommend getting one. Of course I would. But the 1200, like I say, it's been around for a long time now. They just keep getting better and better. Even though it says it's a 1200, it's actually an 1160cc. A lot of bike companies do that.
Yeah, I know. They just
round it up.
They make a bike. Yeah.
Just round
they
it
get
up.
Away with it.
Yeah, they get away with it. But I would say the Triumph Tiger, well, I know for a fact the Triumph Tiger, out of all of that sort of style of bike, it is definitely the quickest out of all of them. It tends to have a little bit more horsepower. Not sure on how comfortable they are, because I've never.
Well, it's about 100 off the top of my head. It's about 145 horsepower.
I'll be able to tell you because I've got it. Yeah, 148. The new one has.
148. I was close.
Yeah, but it's a lot of horsepower for a bike. I mean, my bike is, I think mine's 154 on mine.
So it's not much difference, really.
Not much difference, but you know, having that power is so much fun. It really is. It's so much fun. And do you know what I found out? You know how we were speaking about Chinese engines?
Mm-hmm.
The BMW F800 GS is a Chinese manufactured engine. I've been
trying to tell you this for a while. Because I remember about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was telling you that I was out doing a ride, and he had me on a Lex Moto, and he was telling me about Chinese bikes, and we saw a Suzuki, and he says, like, a lot of these Suzukis are built and manufactured, even though they're created in Japan, but he says a lot of them are built and manufactured in China with Chinese parts.
Yeah, but I just can't believe that BMW would allow a Chinese engine in their bike. Shocked me.
Yeah, but they said last week they got Chinese electrics in some of their bikes as well.
Mate, it's a con, isn't it? It's a con!
China's coming for you, mate. They're coming. In about 20 years' time, all your bikes are going to be Chinese.
Oh, don't. That's depressing me just thinking about it.
Sounds like a 1990s American movie. Goddamn commies!
The goddamn Loch Ness monster. That's just my
I ain't riding no Chinese bike.
It was so scary.
I sent you a link on if you check your phone, I sent you a link on WhatsApp about the BMW 1300 GS.
Oh, right, cool. I'll have a look at that. I did.
That's 2 weeks in a row now. I've known something that you don't.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? I think it's just about, I've been concentrating on my custom build. I haven't really been,
It says here that the BMW
1300
GS is £18,000. Now that's probably not the all. I know because the Triumph, you've got the Explorer, and that's like the all singing, all dancing. It's probably got all the electronics. It's got
cruise control and everything.
cruise control or whatever, and radar. I'd love radar in a bike. That would be class, especially if it could go that speed. I think radar in a motorway would be good. And it's got like I don't know, has it got adaptive ride height and all that stuff? I'm not sure if it's got any of that.
It'll probably have adjustable rear suspension.
Like me riding about my little 125, I cannot imagine what it's like to have a bike with all these mod cons. My bike doesn't even have a digital gear display. And that is the worst thing ever. I never know what, like, I know when I'm in fifth gear, when the fucking, when the gear lever doesn't go up anymore, right? Yeah. I'm in fifth gear. But sometimes, like, you go round a roundabout and you think you're in fifth and you're like, oh, maybe I can go up one more. You go up one more. Or you forget you're in fifth and you think, oh, am I in fifth? And you try again and you're like, and your bike goes, whee! And you're like, yeah, I'm definitely in fifth gear. But if I had like if I had a gear display, you could just look down. It would tell you.
You do realise you can actually put an aftermarket gear indicator on your bike.
No, I didn't realise that, Ash. I don't realise any of this.
You can literally, you just attach it to your handlebars and then you feed the cable into where your speedo gets its speed from. Right,
well, that is something I will have to do then.
Or you can get the electronic ones, which wirelessly tell your gear indicator, depending on like the vibration of your bike, it tells you what gear you're in, which is quite clever. Mine's got a gear indicator on it, but
like an aftermarket one, or
it's actually built into the dash.
Yeah, because I was doing what is Yamaha 600 bikes? Like a YJ 600? Is that what they are?
Oh God. There's an FJR. There's a Diversion, a 600.
Maybe that's it. FJR. Yeah, it's like a naked bike, like a little bit naked bike, isn't it? Yeah. So I was riding the Yamaha FJR 600 or 660, maybe I can't mind. Maybe it was 600, but it had a gear display, and it was so much better.
Yeah.
Like, I got in it and like. I was riding it and just having the gear display. I was just like, this just settles me down a little bit just to know what gear I'm in. Yeah. And I don't want people to think I sound stupid. Oh, I don't know what gear I'm in half the time. But when you're up, and especially if there's a lot of motorways, because where I live, a lot of roundabouts. Because where I live, there's a lot of roundabouts, and obviously being in the 125, having the CBT, I need to take the A roads, which means I end up going in a lot of roundabouts. And I'm riding a roundabout, and you're up gears and you're down gears. And at some stages, you're just there going, what gear am I in? Now, it's all right when you come to traffic lights, because you just put the clutch in and you just play Fred Astaire with the gear lever, you know what I mean? You just tap it until it doesn't go any further, but...
Yeah. The good thing is, though, if you were to get something like a Tiger 1200, they are shaft-driven as well. Which is so much better, I think, in my opinion, than chain-driven.
Yeah, because you said before that one of the upsides is you don't have to chain maintain.
No, you don't.
Your chain.
You've just got to check the oil every now and again on your actual shaft.
What other advantages is there to a shaft-driven bike?
Reliability, I would say. Obviously, yeah, you've got chain maintenance. With a chain bike, you've got to obviously look after the chain, make sure it's oiled and stuff like that. But you also have the issue of... Sometimes when you're riding, chains can snap. I tell you what, if a chain snaps and you weren't wearing boots or protective gear, that thing could whip like a massive chunk out of your leg. If not, like, damage somebody else's vehicle or cause somebody else to have an accident. Much better.
I think about that all the time when I'm riding. I think about stuff like that all the time. Like, it's just always there in the back of my head. Like I'm on the motorway.
You don't oil your chain.
Yeah, I do. I oil my chain. that last time I cleaned my chain up, I did a really good job. I did a really good job.
I can do things.
I can do things. But I get on like an A road and I'm doing like, I got to 75 the other day. Way, hey, look at me. I wasn't speeding or anything. But it was a slight downhill. I was slightly going downhill.
Wind behind you.
Now, I must be honest, I've come to realise that on my bike, the speedo's all over the place. Because even when I'm doing like 35 mile an hour going through a 30, I still get a green smiley face telling me, oh yeah, thanks for doing 30s. And my speedo's all over the place. So when I'm doing 75, I'm probably only doing about 65. But yeah, so basically when I've got it fully opened up, again, it's a YBR 125, so fully opened up. It's not very fast, but it's hairy because it's so bloody windy and there's no wind protection whatsoever. But yeah, I think about it all the time. Like, what would happen if my chain just broke now? Probably not very much. I would just have a sore leg and I would slow down and hopefully not come off.
Screw your engine. Yeah, I would definitely look into getting a shaft. My GTR, again, is shaft drive and it's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
Triumph 1200, good wind protection, do you think?
Yes, definitely. Just as much as a GS. I imagine the newer ones have like an electric up and down screen that'll move up and down. Definitely good wind protection, especially with the legs, because it's quite bulky up on the top end, so you wouldn't feel it on your legs. And the riding difference when you've got a big sort of windshield is just brilliant. You know when you're going at speed and your head's kind of like going like that, like flapping about. You have none of that. It's so good. Like it's like you're just in a big comfy armchair, just going for it.
Because at the minute, again, I'm kind of comparing a Triumph 1200 to my 125 here, but at the minute, the slightest bit of wind and it's blowing me.
Yeah,
and even though it's blowing me and I'm trying to stay up, I kind of feel like if I had a heavier bike.
Oh yeah, you do.
The bike would kind of anchor me a little bit, because at the minute it's blowing me and I'm blowing here and trying to stay up straight, but my bike is so light and there's nothing to it that the slightest little jerk and that's going to go all over the place.
Well, do you remember when I had my CRF 300? Yeah. So when I was riding that, when it was windy,
the Honda.
Yeah, the Honda. Yeah, when
I
was riding that across the Highlands when it was windy, Jesus Christ, was I being blown around like really bad?
Yeah,
because it's so light. And then when I got the Blackbird, obviously that's a much heavier bike. I didn't feel it anywhere near as much. Then when I got the GTR, it's like, wow, even if it's windy, it doesn't really batter you around because you've got the weight there. I mean, that thing weighs about, I think it's like 240 kilos. It's a lot.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I like the look of the Tiger. Like, I know the Tiger 1200 is a bit bigger still, but
it's lovely.
I like the
They
Tiger.
are brilliant bikes.
The front of it kind of looks like it's got like a big chest to it.
Yeah.
You know the way it comes out, and it like a kind of.
Have you actually seen a GS in the flesh? A GS 1200?
A BMW?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're very similar as well. Just big and bulky at the front.
Yeah. Big. Like
and all that adds to the wind protection, especially on your legs.
Yeah, and they always have big screens that go like.
Yeah, even I've got a screen extender on the top of my screen just to give it a little bit more.
And they always have like well, not always, but quite often they have like like the wind protectors that goes around the handlebars.
Yeah, the oh god, what are they called? Just handguards.
Handguards, yeah, they got that as well. All that, I see all that stuff, and I just think I want a big bike like that, just so one. I can be comfortable. I want to be comfortable. That's what I want. Like you said, I want to be I just want to be on an armchair going up the motorway.
Yeah.
Oh mate, I seen something the other day, right? It was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Come on, share.
One of. I've seen a lot of cool stuff. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I was on my way home from work, on my little Pip. I call my bike Pip because it goes pip, pip, pip. But I was on my little Pip. And I was sitting at a roundabout, quite a big roundabout. So the traffic lights you're sitting there for about 5 minutes. And there was 2 cars in front of me. And then from behind me, I just heard this thunders. And I looked over and there was this lass on a Harley. Big black Harley. I think cool. It was like a hardback Harley come up. And so I could see her blonde hair coming out from behind her helmet. Now, I actually think I saw her face to face earlier that day because I did a delivery to a house. And there was a blonde lass there with a Harley. And I was delivering building materials because that's what I deliver for her husband. And she was like, just sit there. But I seen the Harley and I thought it was her husband's Harley. Now I think it was her, right? I think it was the lady that I had seen. And I was like, oh my God, this is cool. Look at her. Look at this bike. I would say look at her, I mean the bike. Look at it. It's amazing. It was a lovely bike. It was like a black Harley. And then all that happened in like a split second. All that went through my head in a split second. And then just after that, I heard this next, and then another one come up. And it was, this time it was a lass, brunette hair. She had like a red leather coat on, and jeans, and she had like a pair of cowboy boots on her Harley. But her Harley was like it had like a white teardrop tank, like what you're doing with your bobber, right? Now, you've played Resident Evil. Anybody out there that's played Resident Evil or Resident Evil 2, they'll know who Claire Redfield is. She looked like Claire Redfield. That's who she looked like, because she had a red coat on. Yeah. She looked like Claire Redfield. And now they both saw me. I could see them. They were maybe talking to each other because they were close enough to talk, and they both started going like really revving their bikes. And I was there and I was like, I'm not even getting involved in this. I am not revving my little shitty 125. Like if you're trying to get that, I'm not getting involved. But yeah, and then they both just went around, and they must have been, I don't know if they were random and never met each other, or if they just happened to be there at the same time, same place. But they both went two separate ways around the roundabout, but they beeped at each other and waved at each other, so I think they were just finishing a ride together. Yeah. Oh my god, it was so cool. Oh, you know what I mean? I was just there and I was like, oh my god, I want a Harley.
I will eventually one day have a Harley. 100%.
Oh, I think I will too. Because
100%.
Well, come on. I've got long black hair, and I know I don't have it at the minute, but I grow a pretty impressive beard.
I've got a bald head and a beard.
Dress me up in leather and put me in a Harley.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But you can tell we've been watching Sons of Anarchy.
But I like I say, I'm not a massive fan of chrome, and if it's the bike that I'm thinking that the lass was riding, it was probably the Sportster 883, which is very blacked out. I mean, it's matte black engine, matte black pipes, and then it's like just matte black everything. I love it. I think they look great. I wouldn't have an 883. Yeah, it was a gorgeous bike. But I would definitely have the Sportster 1200. I wouldn't have the 883 though. But yeah, I would definitely love a Harley. And this is one of the reasons why I bought the Rebel, because it's a cheap way for me to see if I like that riding style. And if I do like that riding style...
No, go ahead.
If I do like that riding style, then obviously I am going to be able to sell the bike for a profit, definitely. And that's the main reason why I bought it. But at the same time...
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
I've always said I'm going to run it for this year, see if I like it. If I do, I like that riding style, then that's when I'll be looking for a Harley, definitely. Or something bigger. Maybe even a Honda Shadow 800 or something like that. But yeah. We've gone on a massive tangent here. So yeah, all in all, Triumph Tiger 1200, great bike.
Right, so now moving on, we're gonna do what this podcast was invented to do. Talk about bike racing.
Right. We're going to do. Are we doing the news?
Yeah, we'll start that with the news.
With the news.
Dum. News. Right. I don't know why I'm laughing. This isn't funny, but here we go. Lee Hardy Racing are taking a year out of BSB due to lack of funding. They'll still be at the Northwest 200, Isle of Man TT and the Macau Grand Prix. They've been in the championship since 2014, and they've had Peter Hickman, Jack Dixon, Ryan Vickers, Leon Haslam, and last season they had Brad Perry racing for them. So they've had some big names racing for them. They've been in the championship for quite a while. They're not going to be there this year due to lack of funding, so that's not... it's not great news.
No, it's not. It's pretty... Because I used to like seeing... I used to like their lorry. I know it sounds daft, but I just used to like seeing their lorry.
Well, yeah, I like going in and looking at lorries as well. But then we're truck drivers, mate. That's what it is. You go in.
You're a truck driver, I ain't.
Well, whenever I go, I like to walk around the paddock and look at the trucks because I'm a truck nerd and I like to see. I like to see what they're driving with, whether if they're in Scanias or Ivecos or Mans or Daffs, or I drive a Daff at the minute. That's what I'm in. Back forward with the news. Back forward. That's
Back forward, side to side. Yeah, so Lee Hardy Racing is, leaving BSB, which is a big shame.
Well, they might be back. They said they're coming. They're out for a year. Hopefully, they'll get back again.
Yeah.
Right. More bad news. Let's be honest. News is never really very good.
No.
Right.
It's usually crap.
The Argentinian round of the MotoGP has been cancelled and it won't be replaced. It's due to the country having a big economic crisis and recent change to leadership in the country. Now, that's all getting very, very political, but basically Argentina is struggling financially, I guess, and that is resulting in them not being able to host the MotoGP, which is not very good.
No, it's not. They didn't host it there last year, did they?
Well, they did host it there last year, but there was problems, was there not? Because they went round the track, and one of the problems was that they don't use the track very often, and it was dirty and it was greasy, and the safety was they didn't think it was safe enough. Because remember last year they had Portimao at the start of the year, and one of the Espargaro brothers come off, Paul Espargaro come off, and then they were saying. And then they were saying that the gravel wasn't right, so that wasn't safe enough. Then they went to Argentina, and Argentina wasn't used enough. And then they said that wasn't safe enough, and it was like, bloody hell!
There was a lot of complaining about tracks last year, wasn't there?
There was. India being one. They complained about India, and then that was fine at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was. It was fine.
That was all media. That was all media, like Simon Patterson just trying to make it sound like, because I need to write about something. I might as well say this. I don't know if that's true. I'm maybe just digging the knife into a journalist for being a journalist, because that's what they're there to do. But yeah, so Argentina's not going ahead, and apparently they're not going to replace it. I'm surprised Spain hasn't come forward and says we can have another one.
Oh, let's go to Spain again. Because Dorna likes Spain.
They should do another one in America. They should just go to Laguna Seca or something like that.
And make us all happy, Dorna, if you're listening.
Yeah, go to Laguna Seca. We love Kota. Kota's amazing. Don't replace Kota. Just go to Laguna Seca as well. Now you can.
Absolutely.
Or Brazil. You can go to Brazil. They host an F1. They've obviously got a track that's big enough for F1 cars. I'm sure it can have MotoGP bikes. Or Mexico. Mexico host F1, so they can have MotoGP.
Just do Le Mans on bikes.
Yeah. Monte Carlo, is that yeah, I've put a little bit in the news. Right, so there was a test. It's a pieing test. We can segue this in, but this isn't really newsworthy, but I just want to end on something fairly positive. So Taka Nakagami has said the new RC 213V engine has made massive progression. And he says that all the Honda riders, the article says that all the Honda riders are saying the same thing. So they're all very excited about the fact that the Honda has made some steps forward.
Yeah. They also said, the engine also has more potential, more torque and top speed. I think, what did they say? Nakagami was it wasn't far off being keeping up with Pedro Acosta, I think. Yeah, 0.883 seconds on the 10th fastest lap time on Pedro Acosta.
Yeah,
which is pretty impressive, really. And it's good to see that bloody Honda are actually doing something.
Yeah,
doing
it says
something
here
to solve it.
Yeah, it says here that the engine has more potential, more torque speed. Everything about the new engine character is much more positive, and all Honda riders are saying the same. And Johan Zarco was the fastest Honda there, so
right. Okay,
yeah, so that's good news to see that actually Honda is coming, hopefully heading in the right direction as well. I don't think they're going to go out and win the championship by any means, but at least they're heading in the right direction. They're making some sort of inroads.
Yeah, definitely. Because we like Honda.
And in terms of news, a little bit of confirmed rides. This is some good news for fans of BSB and British fans really in general. Rory Skinner is back in BSB. He's on board the TAS BMW.
TAS BMW, yeah, that's right.
The bike Danny Buckland was on last season. Mm-hmm. So for all British fans there who were worried about where Rory Skinner was going to go, you're going to see him back in BSB paddock. So he's going to be back on the bike, so that's good.
I think it's definitely a good move for Rory Skinner. He'll do a lot better in BSP. A lot better.
Yeah, but I would have liked to have seen him stay where he was and have another year in Moto 2.
No, I think he probably isn't what he wanted, really, but I think it's the best out of bad situation.
It'd be nice to see him be competitive, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he wasn't exactly, breaking records in Moto 2, was he? I know he was only new to it, but who knows?
So,
could win the
he comes back into BSB. That's what I was going to say. Like, he comes back into BSB. He's obviously proven he can. Like,
yeah,
he's good in BSB. He's on a decent bike. Has BMW.
Well, that's as long as it gets around the track without braking.
You really have it in for BMW, don't you?
I don't.
You always
do you
say
know what? No, it's just. Oh.
Yes, you do. We can't talk about BMW and racing without you bringing up the fact that it'll break.
It probably
don't like
will,
BMW.
Though.
BMW's unreliable.
Like BMW.
It must be all them Chinese parts they use. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that is why. The reason, right? I think BMW, especially what the bike he's riding, the 1000 RR, is an absolutely brilliant bike. It really is. On paper, it's amazing. It should be up there. It should be winning freaking championships. But the problem is, it's too unreliable. If it was more reliable, it would be winning championships.
I think all the statistics showed last year that the DNFs that Leon Haslam had due to mechanical failures, if that hadn't happened, he could have been, or he would have been very much in the title race.
Absolutely.
Because he was in the showdown towards the end, and you think about how many mechanicals he had and how many points he lost, not due to his own fault, but due to mechanical failures. So for that side, yes, BMW did let him down.
I just don't understand how they can mix.
But is that BMW or is that his team? Is that the BMW bike or is that his team?
That's a good question. But it's not just in BSB that BMWs have reliability issues. It's in World Superbikes as well. It's not just... I don't think it's a team. I think it's the bikes.
Well, in World Superbikes, they got no excuse this year. So they can't... Like, if they could hide behind anything previous years, they can't hide this year.
No.
They've got Scott Redden, who's still a phenomenal rider. He is. And they've got Toprak, who is arguably...
He's my...
I'm going to say he is, but he's arguably the best rider in the World Superbike paddock. So...
Yeah.
If they can't make it go round, then it's definitely the BMW. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will see that this year, won't we? But yeah, it's not that I hate BMW or anything. It's just the reliability is lacking. Don't hate BMW at all. I think it's a great bike, as long as it works. You hear that, BMW? Stop buying shit from China. Anywho. Yeah. So is that right, the news? Well, is that the news covered?
Well, that's pretty much it. There's not really a lot happening, is there? Like most of what we talk about is bike racing, and we can talk about the test. Did you look at any of the results from the test? I didn't
actually. Oh, one thing I do want to talk about actually, and it's what we talked about earlier, is Chippy mentioned. I don't know if it's you or Chippy that mentioned that Marc Marquez didn't reveal any of his times, like his lap times.
No. So what happened was, do you remember last week we talked about it, where the MotoGP riders went to the World Superbike test?
Yes, yeah.
And they red stock bikes.
Mm-hmm. Because Valentino Rossi was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Marc Marquez didn't release any of his lap times on that test.
But why not?
He didn't want to. He didn't have to. They weren't there testing. Like, they weren't there testing. They were there just for show. That's what.
Yeah,
they were there, but
why not?
They were there just
times?
to bring. Because he's playing mind games. That's why.
Do you think he's embarrassed? Do you think he's embarrassed by his times?
I don't think he's embarrassed, but like I say, they were riding stock bikes from the showroom.
Yeah,
They weren't. they weren't like obviously World Superbikes. They say, oh, you can buy one of these bikes from the showroom, but then they're going into a garage and they're being souped up and they're being tuned.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah.
Whereas I think the MotoGP guys were just riding stock bikes.
If it doesn't mean anything, like it's not like
people on Facebook are going, oh, Valentino Rossi was like 45th fastest or something. Oh, people saying he still got it. Obviously he doesn't. But it's like, well, he's on a stock bike. What do you expect?
Yeah, but if it
Marc
was
Marquez probably wouldn't have been the fastest.
If it was a test for MotoGP, I'd sort of understand the mind games.
No, but if it's a test for MotoGP, he would have to reveal his time. He would have to.
Yeah, I suppose.
So the reason he's not revealed his time is because he doesn't have to, because they're not there on an official test, so they don't have to reveal anything.
Bore off. Just release your times, you weirdo.
But why? He doesn't have to.
Yeah, but I just don't understand why you wouldn't. Mind games? Mind games for what? He was on a stock bike. There's no mind games to be had there. He's got... who's he going to spook with that? I just don't get it. It would have been pretty cool to have seen his lap times. I think. I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah.
But instead, he's throwing his toys out the pram and he's not freaking doing it.
No, I would say he wants people to know as little as possible so whenever he comes to the line on the first race of the season, whenever they line up, he wants to be the boogeyman. That's what he wants to be. He wants to turn up and be the boogeyman. He wants Bagnaia looking over his shoulder, not to see where Jorge Martin is, not to see where Morbidelli is, because he's riding the factory 2024, but not a factory bike, but he's riding the 2024 Ducati. You know, he doesn't want Bagnaia looking over his shoulder to see where his teammate Bastianini is. Marc Marquez wants Bagnaia to look over his shoulder and ask himself, where's Marc Marquez? Now that's what Marc Marquez wants.
Yeah, of course he does.
The more mind games he can play with the whole paddock, and Bagnaia especially, I think, the more mind games he can play, the better. So if he can get one up on them, and even if that's just something as simple as going to a test in a stock bike and not revealing your times, to not give anything away about how fast you are.
I know, I think
he may have been... Or he may have been nursing a slight injury, who knows, maybe he had some little bit of surgery, I don't know, and maybe he just didn't want to give away that he was riding a bit slower, because he doesn't want a lot of speculation. I don't know, but it's mind games, because we're talking about it now.
I know, we're talking about it.
And if we're talking about it, other people are talking about it.
But I think Bagnaia, if he's going to be like, oh, he hasn't revealed his lap times, I think it should be like, meh, so what? He's not going to be asked at all. It's not going to have affected him whatsoever. Just release your times.
Think it will have. I don't think it will have affected him. No.
I mean, I actually would like to see Marquez do well this year. He's had a rough old time, and I would like him to see him do well. I don't think he's going to win another championship, but I think he'll do well this year.
Yeah.
I think Jorge Martin's going to win. But there you go.
Well, the difference is Marc Marquez he's going to be on the 2023 bike, so he's going to be on a bike that's not significantly, but possibly slower than the 2024 bike anyway. So
it's true.
The four riders in the 2024 bike have an advantage, like Morbidelli, Jorge Martin, Bastianini and Bagnaia. They all have an advantage because they're on the 2024 bike.
If he is as good as a rider as Chippy obviously makes out, then he should be able to make up for that. Remains to be seen.
I think Marc Marquez's biggest obstacle, and this is going to sound cliche,
here we go.
think his biggest obstacle, the only person that can beat Marc Marquez is Marc Marquez himself. It sounds cliche, but I think Marc Marquez's biggest problem will be going out in the first race trying too hard and crashing. Yeah. Trying too hard to prove a point and coming off.
I can see him probably coming off in the first race. Don't want him to, but I can see it happening. Definitely.
But there was an official MotoGP Sepang test.
Yes.
That was happened over a few days ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if these are the final official results. I think they are, but the top 10 that we had down here. Now, you should never read too much into testing, because well, top of the timesheet was Pedro Acosta in the Red Bull Gas Tech 3 KTM, 158.189.
Pretty good.
That's why you shouldn't read too much into testing, because then it puts a lot of hype on Pedro Acosta. Because last week we were like, last week I got excited. Chippy was saying that he put that in, right, how I got excited about Nicola Bulliger, because he did well in these tests, but he did well in consecutive days on consecutive tests. So
yeah,
I think Bulliger's the real deal. I don't think he won the championship, but I think he'd do well.
Whenever I hear his name, it just reminds me of a beluga whale. It's what get in my head. When you say beluga. Beluga whale.
Beluga.
Beluga whale.
Right, Pedro Acosta topped the timesheets in the test. Then you had Paulo Spagro at one stage was second. Johan Zarco was third. Fabio Quartararo was fourth. Danny Pedrosa was fifth.
Good old
Johan
Danny
Mir
Pedrosa.
was sixth. Alex Rins was seventh. Luca Marini was eighth. Carl Crutchlow was ninth. And Taka Nakagami was 10th. Now, there was no Ducati. I don't think there was any Ducatis at that, because there was none of them in the top 10. So I think this was like the Sepang shakedown test. So
No.
I'm not sure if that test is just for the bikes that have concessions and they're allowed a few extra testing sessions, because there doesn't seem to be any Ducatis or anything there. But yeah, there was a bit in there about Acosta saying that he was following Danny Pedrosa, and he said he found it really difficult, because obviously Danny Pedrosa's like, even though he's never won a championship, well, he's never won a MotoGP Premier Championship, but Danny Pedrosa is like,
oh yeah, he's
well known. Even though he never won the Premier Class Championship, he was always considered one of the aliens, because he could keep up with him, and he was always close to winning. So, but again, that's Marc Marquez is one of them aliens as well. He's still in there now. He's in a fast bike, so
remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen. This time next year, we could be talking about this. If Marc Marquez wins the championship this next year, we could be talking about him on a factory Ducati.
Could be. Alongside Bagnaia.
If he goes out and wins the championship, do you think Ducati aren't going to put him on a factory bike?
It depends at what. Well, yeah, I suppose. But who did he get rid of? That's the thing.
Bastianini.
Yeah.
But if Marc Marquez goes out and does what Jorge Martin did this year and comes narrowly second, do you think they'll give him a factory ride?
More than likely.
It's Marquez, isn't it?
It's Marquez.
You think, Jesus, if you can do that in the 2023 bike,
what can he
do in the
2025 bike?
What are you doing in the 2025 bike next year?
Yeah.
You're right.
You're right.
Oh, did you see KTM's new aero?
Yes. Interesting.
I got to be honest, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. Interesting, though. I love KTM. I think they're great in MotoGP. Not
there
afraid
is a lot
to try
of
stuff new. There's a lot of different dodgy aeros. I think it was one of the Ducatis on the back. It was kind of like, looks like the back of like the fins on a rocket ship. Like it's the whole like rear end is just like flared out. And then there's some of the fairings on the side as well. They've got some like interesting new aero on as well.
I'm sending you this. Just look at your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Just click that link. It's got like a picture of most of the bikes. Like it's got Yamaha there.
Yep.
And what they've got in their aero. And then it's got KTM below that. And how they're looking. And then it's got the Honda.
Have KTM released their livery yet for this year?
I think they've released the Tech 3 one. Gas Tech 3.
Yeah, the gas one they have, which looks good. But not the factory
It it looks like it's not as red as it was last year. It looks a bit more orange. It looks more like the actual factory bike, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like that. I like the new gas cast.
I think they've done that. I think they've done that for marketing reasons because the cost is on it. That's what I think.
Maybe
to try and sell more like genuine KTM t-shirts, not just t-shirts, obviously. The one that looks strangest to me is the Aprilia. Go on there and look at the Aprilia.
Sorry. Yamaha, KTM, Honda. Yes. Yeah, it kind of looks like Batman's gauntlets.
But it looks like it falls away at the back a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one, that. But then I think the weirdest one is... sorry, if you go... Sorry, there's two... Yeah,
we're looking at this in crash.net, so if you want to see what we're looking at...
Sorry, I was looking at Honda. Yeah. Yeah, the Aprilia one, that's what I mean. It looks like the back end of like the flights on a rocket ship. It's very strange.
Just the whole, even just the back, like the swing arm at the back, and the way they've got the cover, it goes over like a bit of a cover, it goes over the back wheel, and the way that there's not as much on the back of it as there is. It looks, it does look like the back end of some rocket ship. It looks
very strange.
It's really low to the ground as well.
Yeah. But
that swing arm too. That swing arm.
I like the fact that when they're racing, they can actually flip a switch to drop the bike lower to the ground.
There's a lot of people are against that though because they think it's making it unsafe.
I think it's
that
cool.
That launch control is just making it a bit unsafe.
No, well.
Because whenever they're so low to the ground and they've got that adaptive ride height and it's like launch control, whenever they first take off, they're going so fast. They're going from nothing, and they're all just together going so fast.
Yeah, they are, I suppose.
Barreling
I think
it's cool. Yeah, I think whatever. But there is a lot of talk last year about safety concerns around the launch control and all that and dropping down.
Right, are we gonna get onto these questions?
Yeah, we've got questions.
What questions? One from Chippy and one from me, actually.
Right.
Do you want to read
question from...
Oh, you go on.
You go on. You read it out.
Alright. So a question from Chippy, again. He's put in brackets because nobody's emailed him with a question. So luckily we've got Chippy on hand. What is your favourite track or round from any championship in the season? And he said the one that really gets you excited. I'm excluding road races from this question. Now,
because we would all just say the TT.
Yes. Now, Chippy has said, I'll read his answer out. He likes the MotoGP at Phillip Island, always close racing at the business end of the busyness.
Business.
Is that supposed to say business? Sorry.
Yeah, the business end of the championship. You've never heard that before?
Yeah, no, I thought it was maybe supposed to say busiest. Anyway, of the championship, picturesque and great wildlife. Only downside is it's on at about 5 a.m. UK time.
Trust Chippy to be like, oh, it's great wildlife. Fuck the wildlife. We're not there to look at the fucking birds.
Oh, yeah, let's have a look at that kangaroo, mate.
Look, whenever the cameraman is focusing and panning on the fucking birds or some stupid cat that's ran onto the track, you know it's boring television.
Yes,
oh, look,
absolutely.
and look, mate, there's a kit. Yes. Obviously, that means there's no bike racing going on.
Yeah.
Fucking wildlife. He's a fucking dick.
I bet he's loving the wildlife where he is right now. My answer to this question was the MotoGP Circuit of the Americas is my favourite. There's plenty of twists and turns in the track. The only break the riders get is the long straight, which means they all have to be on it. Yes, it does favour the Ducatis because of the straight, but makes for some great racing. I love Circuit. We all love Circuit of the Americas. But
yeah, I was going to put it down as but then I seen you put it down.
I think it's a great track. It really is. It's definitely always my favourite of the year. But if they put Laguna Seca in, that would be my favourite. If you're listening, Donna.
Yeah, if you're listening.
So what's yours then, Sam?
Right. So I was going to put down Kota as well.
Yes.
But I seen you put that down, so I thought, well, there's no point in me saying that. So I tried to think of an alternative. Now, I've got one which I really, really like for the reason I like Donington Park, the British Superbikes. Or the World Superbikes, British round of the World Superbikes. And that's because I went to it last year and I'm going to it this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've already got me everything organised to go to it. So I'm looking forward to that. Big hype. I love the track. I think it's amazing. I think Donington Park is such a good... I think it's one of the UK's best track, if not our best track. And I don't know why the MotoGP doesn't go there instead of going to bloody Silverstone. But anyway.
Yeah.
However, looking further afield, because that's obviously I'm going to say that because I like to go to it. Looking further afield, I think a really nice track that I would love to go to would be the Red Bull Ring in Austria.
Yeah.
Because you're in the Austrian mountains, and it's you want picturesque and wildlife. You don't want to go to some cruddy island off the coast of Australia, mate. You want to go to the mountains in Austria. Bigfoot lives there. That's where Bigfoot lives. Like, he lives in Austria somewhere. He lives there.
The
Austrian mountains.
That was going to be my other choice. It would have been the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, the Red Bull Ring in Austria, because whenever they're there and they talk about it and the camera pans over and you can see all the mountains and the forests and the trees and you just think, oh my god, that looks like such a class place to. It looks absolutely amazing, fantastic place to be. Yeah, it looks amazing. And I think this is why I said earlier about if you're riding a Triumph Tiger 1200 or a GS 1300R or your GTR 1400, you're riding it for miles. That's why I said Austria. Imagine riding to the Austrian mountains. Imagine jumping in your bike and riding to the Austrian mountains. That would be class.
Well, my old man did it last year. They did a big trip for about 10 days through to Austria and that, and he said it was just phenomenal. He said it was just so good. He was gutted he had to come back. They're even going again this year. It was that good. He's going back there again. I would love to ride.
But it seems like a perfect opportunity to go to Austria, ride to Austria,
absolutely.
Go to Spielberg, Red Bull Ring, watch the MotoGP, get hammered for a weekend, and then just jump on your bike and ride back.
I would, if I was going over on a bike to watch the GP, I'd make a full-on holiday of it. I'd go to the Eagle's Nest, which was Hitler's holiday home. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a war nerd. I'd make a full-on holiday of it, and that would just be amazing riding it. We should do it. When you get your bike, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Austria. We're going to watch the GP. We're going to have a few flagons of ale, and then we're going to do some other stuff as well.
I would also like to go to Assen. I'd like to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And party. And Portimao. I'd love to go to Portimao. I've heard a lot of good things about riding to Portimao.
Mm-hmm.
Down in the Algarve of Portugal. Brilliant.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to do some riding.
Right. Yeah, right. Have we got another question?
Yeah, so this was my question. If a MotoGP team contacted you randomly and said, we want you to ride our bike in the last race of the season, would you accept the ride or not, and why? Now, Chippy, I'll read Chippy's answer out first, then you can answer it. So he put, yes, I would, but I'd make an idiot out of myself, especially as I can't even ride a bike. But it would be something that not many people would have ever done, and I'd probably get lapped several times.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a... Well, that's a question, but it's a bit of a silly question, isn't it?
Why?
Because of course you're going to... Well, of course you're going to say yes. It's like,
I wouldn't.
Why?
I wouldn't, because I'd probably be a danger to everybody else on the track, and someone would end up getting really hurt. I'd be going like a 50 pence around the corner, like not leaning my body and not the bike, and then someone just ran up the back of me.
Yeah, but this brings up the whole, reason for the question. I'm looking for a word there that I can't find. That just brings up the whole question. Like, why would a team just randomly go, "Oh, do you want to ride our bike?" Because they would
just
know.
a question.
Like, even British superbike riders and world superbike riders and American moto riders and Australian superbike riders and Moto2 riders and Moto3 riders and all riders around the world, whenever there's a seat comes up in MotoGP, like somebody crashes and get injured and there's a seat comes up, a lot of people are sending messages to the team saying, "Oh, I'm available, I'd like to ride it," and they have to really take it seriously. They can't just let anybody on the bike because they are so hairy to ride.
I get that.
I don't think I could ride a MotoGP bike in a straight line without killing myself, honestly.
I probably couldn't either, to be honest. I don't know.
I think I would take off. It would just like imagine how fast it would be. Jesus.
Oh, it'd be amazing though, wouldn't it? It would be amazing.
Imagine how fast it would be and coming to the corner. Like, it's not Forza Motorsport or MotoGP on the computer where you can just press Y and you rewind back. Like, you go into that first corner and fucked.
Flipping
Dead. You must need all them years of experience to actually learn how to crash properly.
Yeah, I mean,
like you have to know. You have to know when you're losing the bike, in that split second when you're losing the bike, to know stop wrestling with the bike and now crash because I'm gone. Unless you're Mark Marquez, you just wrestle it. But you need to be. You need to be and then you need to be able to crash. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to crash. I wouldn't know what to do.
Best thing to do is not roll. Just try and lie on your back and slide.
I think I would have to turn them down. Like, I would be like you. I'd be like,
I don't want to die, dude.
I'd be like, can I just come along and like enjoy your hospitality and maybe have a drive round in the BMW car? I would do that. I would drive round in the car. Like, I'll drive the safety car once round.
It'd be cool if you could go to like an airstrip though, and just say, yeah, you could just go in a straight line, just enjoy yourself. Just to feel the sheer power of it. That'd be great.
A few years ago, I went to an anti-rollover course for a truck.
Yeah.
So the idea is you have a truck with a tanker in the back, and then the tanker's got like these big, like it's almost like training wheels going up the back of it, but they're going up rather than down. They're going up. And the idea is that you just turn the truck as sharp as you can, purposely trying to tip the back end of your trailer. And then you look out your window and your trailer's tipped over and it's on these like wheels. And you're like, holy shit, it's that easy to tip a trailer.
Yeah.
Like, it's when it's got fuel and stuff in it. But we were at a place called Brunthorpe. I think that's how you pronounce it, Brunthorpe. And they've got a big runway. And there was like somebody working with or for the police or in the police, but they were driving like Mazda RX-8s or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were basically just doing laps of the runway, and they were belting it as much as they could. Like, they were all day, they were just, like, obviously they were taking tea breaks and stuff, but all day they were just on the runway as fast as they could. Like, they were just coming around the corner, you could see them coming, and they were giving it the beans around the corner as fast as they could. You could hear the tyres squealing, and as soon as they got it straight, they just gave it everything they had. And we spoke to one of the instructors, and he said that what they're doing basically is seeing how fast they have to go before speed cameras can't detect them.
Right. Okay.
So they had speed cameras on the runway, and they were just like this old ex-runway that's not used anymore, and they were just seeing how fast they had to go before the speed cameras can't detect them. Like, can you imagine how fast they would have been going? I just thought, why do I get that job? Like, how do I get a job where I just get to drive like a Mazda RX-8 like really fast?
Become the police.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Well, yeah, I think I'd have to turn that invitation down. I would just want to go for their hospitality. Would you? Well, extending that question, would you want to ride in BSB? Would you try that?
I think I'd have a go on a I'd have a go on a BSB bike. I think.
Would you want to race though?
Probably not.
Let's just say, for example, Hawk Racing got in contact and they're like, "Oh, Lee Jackson's let us down. We need not that well, but and we need somebody." Right? This is a scenario, right? You and I, because this could happen. Well, I'm not saying the whole thing could happen, but you and I are in hospitality, right? We're in Hook Racing Hospitality. Hook Racing, thank you very much for your previous hospitality. We're in hospitality, right? And Lee Jackson comes down with the absolute shits. That's it. And he can't ride. He's just shitting his guts out because he's accidentally drank laxatives somehow. Don't know how. And then you get handed a helmet and you're like, oh, we need somebody to go out and ride.
They're not going to pick me. I'm fat as fuck.
Well, they're not going to pick me. What riding experience do you have? Oh, YBR 125.
How many beers you had today? 6, but I can ride.
Yeah. Had a bottle of gin, but I can take my bike.
No, I think if that happened, Steve would be riding.
Oh God.
But,
no, I riding a British superbike. I wouldn't be opposed to having a go on one, even going around a track. If I was on my own pace, I still think I would be bricking myself. But could you imagine you've never raced before and you're at the start and finish with all the other bikes roaring around you, and you're watching the light and you know it's going to turn green and you're going to have to stick it into first gear, let the clutch off and give it everything you can, barrel into the first corner with about 30 other bikes doing the same thing.
I think I'd be taking out a fair few bikes, to be fair. With
the intention to get round the corner and then go as fast as you can. Like, realistically, when you think about it, I would be shitting myself.
So would I. I'd be absolutely. Everyone would be like proper concentrating. You'd just be in your helmet going, "Fuck, shit."
Like, I think as fans, I think we take it for granted quite a lot of times.
Yeah,
just
what definitely.
Because it's like one of them cliche sayings that whenever somebody does something so well, they make it look really easy. Anybody thinks they can do it, but that's because they're so good at it.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't imagine being on the beans like that throughout the whole race. Gotta have no fear in that kind of stuff.
I reckon, though, honestly, that I would have a go at the BMW F900 Cup.
Yeah.
I would feel happy. Like, I would be at the back. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like I would be willing to try that. I'm not saying that's my level. I'm not saying I'm good enough to be that, but that's my level of confidence when it comes to riding. I would, like, if somebody says to me, if you like let's say I had a few extra £1,000 lying around for one reason or another. I don't, but I did. But like, I could pay 10 grand to get into the F900 Cup. I've got a few extra grand for fuel and tyres and blah blah blah, and I've got enough money to tide me over for a year that I can invest a bit of time so I don't hate to work. As like an expensive hobby, just go and do the F900 Cup. I think I could try it.
I think I'd go for the British Talent Cup 250s. I'd do that.
I think if I had that sort of money, really, I'd just buy my own bike and go to track days instead.
Yeah. Buy yourself a Triumph Tiger and just go touring instead.
Yeah, go to Austria.
Yeah.
Right.
I suppose
that's pretty much our show. Don't really have anything else to talk about. Bit of a rash start tonight, I think, Ash. It didn't really flow very well, did it?
Nah, I'll be honest, I'm quite tired, to be fair.
So am I.
It wasn't work again. I wasn't as enthusiastic this week. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're still listening and you enjoyed the show, we'll give you a quick rundown of our socials. You can get in contact with us at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. We do have a Discord. I will put it in the YouTube comments box down below. So if you want to join our Discord, get in contact with us there. Obviously, we're on YouTube, the Big Bad Bike Show. We're on Twitter at the Big Bad BS, but we use that most whenever it comes to actually bike racing season. So that'll start up again in a few weeks.
It will, and I will when the bike racing starts. I will get on with the Instagram stuff.
Yeah. We've got a Facebook, which is the Big Bad Bike Show. We have a Facebook group called Big Bad BS. I am on Twitter at the Big Bad Biker, and I'm on Instagram at the Big Bad Biker as well. Chippy's at Moto Chippy, but you won't hear from him for a couple of months anyway. And Ash, you are
North Biker
on Instagram. So that's how you can get in contact or follow us. Right, so nothing else to say, nothing else to really keep yourselves awake for. So nothing else to do but say goodbye. Ash,
See.
see thee, and it's goodbye from me. So just keep on enjoying the ride. See you next week.